has raised more than $71,000 as of reporting this morning. The Bulwark points out that it's hard to say if these firings are being driven by the very sensible disapproval of staff talking about their company killing its founder, or paranoia about Owens having credible information about internal TPUSA activities, or both. But clearly, someone within the organization is leaking to Owens. Just this year, the highly controversial podcaster posted videos of Erica Kirk on internal video chats in the wake of Kirk's assassination that were interpreted on the online right as insufficiently mournful. And it just gets crazier. Owens already received a cease and desist order from TPUSA in January for spreading conspiracy theories about Kirk's death, but she seems undeterred by it. Just wait. I'll play the clip. Nor does she seem tripped up by the non-disparagement agreement she signed with the organization from when she was employed there that could make her theories even more legally perilous. On her Tuesday show, Owens quipped that if Erica Kirk had been killed instead of Charlie, and if Charlie then acted as Kirk is acting now in the wake of his assassination, he would be on trial for his wife's murder. One of these theories that was going viral this week was, I guess, what's being dubbed like Picturegate, because in a frame of Erica on the show, people noticed that she had removed and replaced the wedding photo of her and Charlie in the background of their home studio.
Picturegate. Put that picture away. That's what they want to know. So Charlie's last live appearance before he was assassinated was, from his home studio at least, was on September 8th. Here is that wedding photo behind him, which you can see. Then, fast forward to December 12th, and as a part of her Shabbat Shalom PR Blitz, she conducted her very first interview from Charlie's home office. She was playing the part, as you are about to see. This is his first time back in his office. And yet, curiously, that wedding photo is missing.
I have not been in here for a very long time, and I've just been, that's part of the reason why I keep looking down. It's not because I'm not wanting to look at you, it's because, like, there are so many treasures in here.
If this really is your first time in his office, the first time looking down at his desk, who moves the frame behind his head? The internet's immediate reaction, they said, Erica removed it. Push back on that notion. I do not accept that option at all. That would be the exact opposite of the very intentional PR messaging that has come out of Turning Point USA since Charlie died. So that really only leaves us with one other option, and that option would be that Charlie himself moves the frame on the night, the day before his assassination. And what would have happened thereafter is Erica simply didn't realize it.
Has now taken this so far that she started her show the other day saying Erica Kirk should be dragged into a police precinct for questioning. And she offered this new take on why she thinks Erica is complicit in this.
Look, I have seen enough, ladies and gentlemen. I've seen enough. Erica Kirk should be dragged into a police precinct for questioning. The amount of evidence that is now piling up, I would say, against Erica Kirk is almost akin to an NBC Dateline episode, except it's actually more simplified than that. So yesterday and last week, we introduced to you Erica's best friend for over 15 years, a woman by the name of Tracy Martin. Now, we were working off of a tip that Tracy may have been with Erica when Erica got the call from Elizabeth and Mikey McCoy. They were both on the phone, even though that was never revealed to the public until later. Tracy, I am told, because she's privatized her public profiles, but I am told that she has denied that claim. Okay, let's assume Tracy's telling the truth and that she was not with Erica on September 10th. It's not even relevant to what we're about to reveal to you, because what Tracy cannot deny is that her daughter is indeed Erica's assistant. I have confirmed that. And I want to be very clear here that this young woman did nothing wrong. She's not done anything wrong. I'm intentionally choosing not to name her daughter because I don't want people to stalk her, to reach out to her, and try to learn anything about her life. She, like I said, has done nothing wrong. And in many ways, she's just beginning her life, okay? However, it is a fact that she was supposed to go to UVU on September 10th. I remind you, this is Erica's assistant. And it sort of tracks, even Erica's public admission, that she too was considering going. But remember, Charlie told her, home needs you. Home needs you. So she was instead going to go meet him at the next event, which was in Colorado, slated for later that week. Charlie did not want her to go to the UVU event because the kids needed her. Home needs her. But he totally wanted her to become the chairman and the CEO of the company in his absence, right? Like, that totally tracks. That makes perfect sense. Anyway. But the reason that Erica's assistant and her mother, Tracy, Erica's best friend, told people in their orbit something quite interesting, actually. The reason that they told her that they didn't go is different from the reason that Erica didn't go, obviously. Tracy and her daughter told people that Tracy had a bad feeling. Like I told you, you confirmed that. Tracy had a bad feeling, and so she stopped her daughter from going to UVU. This is now confirmed. It's a fact. Charlie Kirk is high on life over a routine college event, and now he's up and pacing around the house, not in fear, just in excitement. This is like Disney World for him, going to UVU. Oddly, however, what we can confirm to you is Erica's best friend and her assistant did have fear for some reason. Charlie's good. He's excited, but they had fear. For some reason, Tracy Martin told her daughter, who was Erica's assistant, not to go to this event. They pull her back because Tracy senses danger. But that's just mommy intuition. Are we to believe that she did this? She pulled her daughter back from this event, and she declined to share that overwhelming mommy intuition with her best friend, whose husband was going to the event? That seems selfish to me. Are we also to believe that Erica wasn't interested in asking her assistant why she wasn't going to do her job, to work?
I said it in the last video, I'll say it again. I'm not a fan of either of these women. I do enjoy seeing the MAGA infighting, though. And I'll tell you, folks, I fell down doing research for this, a rabbit hole of Candace's, YouTube channel. And every single video, sans maybe one or two, in the last, 5 or 6 days, but this has been going on for weeks. It's all Erica Kirk. It's all Turning Point. It's all Charlie and Erica Kirk. It's like the wormhole is never ending, and she seems so undeterred, despite the cease and desist and all this other stuff. And I kind of hate to root for Candace Owens in this matter, but watching her lob these conspiracy theories that are very easy for people to buy into because of how suspicious Erica Kirk has been, how shady Turning Point has been, as you see in those clips. I mean, I can't help but hope that she somehow plays a role in taking down Turning Point USA, or at least hindering their ability to function as a company. I mean, it is utter insanity, but that is where I will pass the question off to you. Do you guys believe the things that Candace Owens is saying? I know Erica Kirk makes it very believable with just how she's acting and how she's grieved, and the way Turning Point is functioning, and the massive amounts of fundraising and money they're bringing in, while simultaneously treating their employees like garbage and firing them for seemingly no reason. It is all just so shady. I mean, we pointed that out in our video, too, about the Turning Point USA alternative halftime show, about how it really was just a cash grab to ride off the Super Bowl hype and then beg for donations afterwards. It just seems like everything this company has done ever since Charlie Kirk's assassination has been mired in controversy and just shady dealings. So I would love to hear your thoughts, and if you do care about this stuff, if you want us to keep covering the Candace Owens and Erica Kirk drama, then let me know, because honestly, I'm kind of happy too. It is fucking nuts. But yeah, that is it for Really American. I'm Kenny S. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Your biggest tax refund is coming into focus. File your taxes in a snap and make your refund.
Mayor Pride, thank you for being here today. It's a big day.
It's a huge day.
Yeah, it's a huge day. Let's start with what happened this morning. Border Czar Tom Homan said that he is withdrawing ICE agents from Minneapolis. That he has talked to Donald Trump and that Operation Metro Surge is over. Do you call bullshit on that? Is that really happening? Where are we at with it?
I will believe it when I see it.
And if you're looking for anybody to give credit to for the end of Operation Metro Surge, for the pressure that was put on the federal government, for these incredible patriotic acts that have taken place over the last month and a half, give it to the 435,000 Minneapolis residents. I mean, they are truly an inspiration. They have been protesting peacefully by the tens of thousands. They've been dropping off food for people that are otherwise scared to go outside and leave their homes. They're watching guard on a daycare. I mean, they are the defenders of this great republic in this moment. I mean, they are everything that it means to be.
I mean, it has been remarkable to see what the protesters have been doing in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
I think there's still a lot of questions, right, about whether or not you can trust the Trump administration to follow up on its word. Do you have any knowledge right now of ICE agents being removed? I know there were 700 that were promised to be removed a few weeks ago. Like, I'm seeing things online, at least I was this past week, images of ICE agents changing tactics and not leaving. Do you have any sense of what is happening right now on the ground?
Both my hope and my expectation is that this operation will be drawn down in the very near future. And by the very near future, I mean in the next week or so. And simultaneously, like I said, we'll believe it when I see it. We have seen a variety of unconstitutional acts that have taken place on the streets of Minneapolis, the kinds of things that have happened never in a million years. But I think that a federal government would be invading a great American city. And so it is my expectation that it will be drawn down. It is my hope that it will end. And here's the thing. It's not good enough for it to end in Minneapolis and then go to terrorize some other great American city.
A week from now, there's still 2,000 ICE agents in Minneapolis.
Well, look, we do everything that we can do under the law. We are preemptively suing. We have recognized that the kind of discriminatory actions that have taken place are not just in violation of local law, but they violate the United States Constitution. I am expecting, I am hopeful, again, that in this next week, it'll not just be drawn down, the Operation Metro Surge will end, and we'll be back to the numbers that we saw before. And by the way, ICE has been in Minneapolis, ICE has been throughout the country for decades now. We're not talking about ICE doing normal ICE stuff. What we saw was these roaming gangs walking down the street, terrorizing people, detaining them exclusively based on the fact that they looked like they're Somali or Latino, and then indiscriminate pickups thereafter. You can't do that in America. That happens in other countries. But when it happens here, it shouldn't be a Democrat issue or...
This is what America has been waiting for, because Americans finally got what they were asking for, and Pam Bondi had a meltdown. This is because the Senate had their foot on her neck and did not let her breathe. Every single time she tried to lie, they called her out and threw it back in her face, and she couldn't take it. And as a result, she made herself and Trump look even worse, because all of her responses ended up in insults. And you know you've lost the argument when you resort to insulting the person rather than attacking the argument. Now, here is a clip of her getting out of control and them giving her the exact same energy, and she can't take it. A reminder, this is at the House Judiciary Committee hearing, and all of her arguments get destroyed in this clip right here. Let's take a look at it.
I really have just one question for you. How many of FC's co-conspirators have you indicted? How many perpetrators are you even investigating?
First,
You showed it. I find it.
How many have you indicted?
Excuse me. I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No,
You're
you
the
answer the question the way I asked.
I'm in the gutter with these people.
How many
but I'm going to answer the question.
How many have you indicted?
Again, the time
You're
belongs to
claiming my time.
the time belongs.
I think it's very interesting.
my time.
I think it's very interesting.
You can
When he
reclaim your
talks
time.
about they indicted, the president said they indicted him twice.
Please, we're stop the clock.
Yeah, indicted. Oh, okay. That would
Committee will
be
be
the
ordered. Time belongs to the gentleman from New York. We will give you a few more seconds. We will do that. But when you ask a question, the witness gets. So you may not like the answer, but she gets to answer.
Question was, how many of
They
FC's
don't like the answer to
my time?
because it's honest.
Be clear.
So he asked a 4-minute question.
Restore 45
and
seconds,
I
Mr.
am
Nadler,
going
please,
to
Mr. Chairman.
answer.
You can let her filibuster all day long, but not on our watch.
Be clear.
Not on our time. No way.
Be clear.
And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you
You
started.
don't tell me that.
I did tell you because we saw what you did in the Senate.
Committee will be in order.
Now, most people are asking, is this the behavior of an Attorney General of the United States of America? It is not. This is the behavior of an emotional child. Pam Bondi seems to think the louder and angrier you get, the more right you are. And it actually exposes how guilty she is as she tries to cover up the Epstein files even further in order to not hold Trump accountable for anything. And as you can see, both the House committee and the senators at this hearing are not having it with Pam Bondi. The second they see her going off track, they move on to the next topic because she knows their time is limited. So she shows this fake hour to try to turn down the clock to not actually have to answer anything asked of her. However, it does not work. We are currently watching one of the final meltdowns of the Trump administration. This is the same result when you call a narcissist out on their BS and they turn the anger up in order to look innocent, but you know they're guilty. They're just hoping you believe their anger. And when that narcissist learns they hold zero power and cannot control you or manipulate you, this is the result. Such as in this clip right here where she absolutely loses her mind because these people work off of triggering other people, and if you don't let them trigger you, well, the real them comes out. So we'll show you where she smiles after telling a woman who lost her grandfather in the Holocaust that she's an anti-Semite. This is who the Trump administration is. Let's take a look at this clip.
And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me that.
I did tell you because we saw what you did in the Senate.
Lawyer.
Now let's get to the anti-Semite clip. And the strangest thing about this clip and all the other clips is she's supposed to be answering questions about Epstein and the redactions and the survivors that are sitting right behind her. She did not look at one time this hearing nor apologize to. However, after insulting the entire Judiciary Committee, she then goes to talk about how Trump's doing a great job with the DOW. What about the survivors, Pam Bondi? Do crimes not matter when Donald Trump commits it? Well, I guess so. The same way he pardoned his billionaire friends for fraud and scams and went to Minnesota and lied about fraud and scams and killed Americans. However, those ICE agents aren't in prison. Why? Because they broke the law under the name of Donald J. Trump, just like the Jan 6 rioters who all got pardoned by Trump, who broke the law under the name of Trump. Ironically, many of them ended up going back to prison for being PDFs, murders, driving drunk, or other crimes. Are we surprised that the felon committed crimes again? No, we are not. However, what we are surprised by is by wanting justice for Epstein survivors gets you called an anti-Semite. When Pam Bondi already has the knowledge that your grandfather died in the Holocaust, and you're going to see her smile after. Let's take a look at this clip. Here's a better view of this clip so you can see both of their reactions.
Didn't ask Merrick Garland anything about Epstein, not once, when he was condemning. Oh, it's you. Do you want to go there, Attorney General? Do you want to go there? Are you serious?
Gentlemen,
Talking about anti-Semitism. Your grandfather.
committee will be in order.
Talk to Jerry
You see her trying not to smile. Pay attention to her face as this goes on.
about anti-Semitism.
Ranking member.
Can I get like 30 seconds?
This balance.
I think all of this is who the Trump administration is, and these are not good people. As a matter of fact, this gets even worse for Pam Bondi. I don't think she understands how bad this was, and good on her for calling this out to the public so they know the context as to why Pam Bondi said this, because it reveals her, and it reveals the dark nature of her. And she's actually looking at contempt charges and impeachment charges very, very soon in the near future, which also comes up in this hearing in a later clip. Now, if you want to talk about someone who really got under her skin, it was Thomas Massey, because he called her out. She had a meltdown and he did not let her retreat one time, and she couldn't get the reaction she wanted out of it. And it was Thomas Massey asked Pam Bondi, you see her feeling pressure. Why did you not prosecute the co-conspirators that are the Epstein files? You've done your investigation. And do you know what Pam Bondi does in return? Well, you'll see in this clip, because she starts deflecting immediately, and she completely
Did you ask Merrick Merrick Garland that the last 4 years? Did you talk about Epstein?
I'm reclaiming my time. I'm glad you're asking about Merrick Garland.
You can reclaim
Because
time,
this
but
is
you don't.
bigger than Watergate.
When I don't answer questions.
This goes over 4 administrations. You don't have to go to Biden. Let's go back to Obama. Let's go back to George Bush. This cover-up spans decades, and you are responsible for this portion of it.
And that's
now,
where
I want to know at what point did the FBI and the DOJ decide that Lex Wessner was not a co-conspirator? Because our Epstein Files Transparency Act requires you, please put it back on the screen, please, to release the internal decision about whether to prosecute him or not, and it's not in the files, and it's not in the files for any of these other men.
Time of the gentleman has expired.
May she answer?
And he's a hypocrite because he voted against the ban that we were talking about on deepfake AI. Only 2 people voted against it, and you were one of them, hypocrite.
The gentleman's look at that. And there's even better news because Thomas Massey was the only person that got under this person's skin. Because when a mirror is held to a monster's face and they have to be accountable for what they've done and they cannot get a negative reaction out of you or push your buttons, this is what they turn into. Be reminded that she is Ghislaine Maxwell 2.0 right now as she cover-ups and defends PDFs and lies to the American public about what's actually happening as Epstein survivors sit right behind her. Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, all of them know this is coming to an end. Now, that wasn't the only moment where he caught her red-handed. As a matter of fact, he says it in this clip. As she tries to lie multiple times, he calls her out and tells her, Pam Bondi, we've caught you red-handed. Pam Bondi's response, you must have Trump derangement syndrome. These people cannot keep up with Americans who refuse to be manipulated by the administration. So all they know is lashing out in insults, but they're changing the mind of nobody. And it just makes them more guilty than ever when they cannot answer a question directly and play theatrical circus games while accusing everybody else of doing it because we know that is MAGA's #1 MO. Accuse everybody else of what I'm doing. Now let's take a look at this clip of Thomas Massey once again catching Pam Bondi in a lie and her being reduced to ashes as a result emotionally. Let's take a look at this clip.
Who's responsible? Are you able to track who in your organization that made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document? Do you have that kind of accountability?
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times.
Yeah, I already told you that. This is where it's listed as
my answer. Let me finish my answer. We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time.
Mr.
Chairman.
How this works.
Can I have my time?
Mr.
Chairman.
The gentlelady can give her answer. The time belongs to the gentleman from
I'm reclaiming my time. So, I'm going to put the language of the bill up on the screen. Another question. Here's the question.
My answer on that.
We'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to the next question.
My time.
Within 40 minutes, you asked me a question. Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
There was one redaction out of over 40 countries, and we invited you in. This is Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to get, you're a failed politician.
She simply cannot get a reaction out of Thomas Massey. And there is a reason for this, because you can see it in his eyes. This is conviction versus a liar. And they will do anything to get you to believe their lies. And every time they lose the argument, they attack the person to invoke a reaction out of you. Because when they have nothing, they're hoping desperately you believe their lie. The only problem is the majority of normal Americans are privy to that game, and they're tired of that game. Pam Bondi and Donald Trump have made their bed, and now they have to lay in it, and nobody is letting them cover up any of these Epstein files any longer. To include Ted Lieu, who catches Pam Bondi in a flat-out lie. I mean, she chokes up and stops talking for a few seconds, and then starts to say, this is so ridiculous. Instead of just answering the question, and she looks more guilty than any of these other clips, because when you thought this couldn't get any worse, it gets worse. She is breaking down, because if you have no one else around you to believe your lie, then the truth has to come out, and it comes out in this clip right here, because Ted asked about underage people with Donald Trump and Epstein, and Pam Bondi knew about it, and here is her answer. Let's take a look at this clip.
Former Prince Andrew
Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
TurboTax locations are now open in your neighborhood. So, hand off your taxes to an expert today. Now local experts do your taxes with 100% accuracy.
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one who asked that those files.
I got you.
President Trump asked that he sign the legislation.
Belongs to the gentleman.
Every time she goes against someone who will not be manipulated emotionally by her lies, we watched her charge up this lie in real time after 10 seconds of silence. So here's the problem, Pam Bondi. When you point the finger at someone, there's always 3 more pointing right back at you. We know what you did, and the truth is speaking for itself because these lies can no longer be hidden. This is what happens when America unites and pressures them. Every single time they call a lie, they get called out. They eventually have to reveal what's been hidden in the dark the entire time, and we're watching it come to light day by day because they are showing America they do not care about the safety of children, women, men, anybody in America. As we've seen with Renee Good, Alex Preddy, Keith Porter Jr., and the list goes on. All the names we don't have that died under ICE. All the victims we haven't heard from that are in the Epstein files. And Pam Bondi refuses to reveal those perpetrators because the Trump administration thrives in chaos and dividing the people. And right now they're powerless because the people refuse to be divided. And this is the result of that. I mean, watch this insane meltdown. She crashes out so hard and deviates from the conversation of the Epstein survivor sitting right behind her to talk about how great Trump is doing in America, completely disregarding the feelings of Americans and the experience of the Epstein survivors as well as the lawlessness and guiltiness of all the perpetrators who have been redacted in the Epstein files illegally. He is at a high chance of being held for contempt, impeached, and imprisoned, along with the rest of the Trump administration for assisting in not only this cover-up, but willingly defying federal law. Let's take a look at this clip of Pam Bondi crashing out.
And none of them asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader. You're laughing. It's over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does the Dow have to do with anything? That's what he just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan.
When you refuse to believe their lies, call them out on this narrative and gaslight they try to create, all they have is fake outrage. These eyes are filled with deceit, and nobody is buying it. Now, this entire hearing called Pam Bondi out for her lies and breaking the law, and they gave her maximum accountability, such as Jamie Raskin right here. And this is what America has been waiting for when it comes to these liars that are defying the Constitution, calling them out for what they've done, and then giving them consequences. Let's take a look at this clip, because from here on out, this is what the Trump administration will receive from our lawmakers and the American public. Call them out, hold them accountable. Let's take a look at this clip.
You've turned the People's Department of Justice into Trump's instrument of revenge. Trump orders up prosecutions like pizza, and you deliver every time. He tells you to go after James Comey, Letitia James, Lisa Tuck, and Jerome Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve Board, and members of Congress like Adam Schiff, Martin Kelly, Alyssa Slotkin, Chrissy Houlihan, Jason Crow, Chris DeLuzio, and Megan Goodlander, to name a few, and you snap to it. You replace real prosecutors with counterfeit stooges who robotically do the president's bidding.
Absolutely on the mark. Every single thing normal Americans told MAGA was coming has happened, and MAGA is in a panic. They are now abandoning Trump. MAGA has dwindled to a bunch of maniacs nobody takes seriously. It's a bunch of PDF supporters, and Nazis. And do you know how we said Trump, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and all of MAGA, who just follows their lead, accuses everybody else of what they're doing? Well, this guy accused Joe Biden of being a PDF, which doesn't really make sense, and basically admits he's a racist and says he's okay with it. As we said, this is the remainder of MAGA. Well, this same guy, he has now been arrested for molesting children. And we've heard the same story time and time again with the Jan 6 rioters. Speaking of which, Pam Bondi got called out for because they hired, I believe it was this man right here, who was threatening to kill police and assaulting them. He is now working for Donald Trump. And here's the credibility to that statement.
That man works for you now.
Whoa. What's that?
He's got the budgeting app from base 44. Guys.
You now.
Who was that, Congressman?
The man who video, the one who was in the police-worn body cam footage, the one allegedly yelling "kill him" at police officers on January 6th. His name is Jared Wise.
He does work for us.
He works for you at the Department of Justice.
Talk about Project 2025 as Pam Bondi gives the A-OK to someone who said they want to kill officers when they claim that they care about the safety of officers. These people are losing it, because Pam Bondi goes on to say this as well.
I believe he was pardoned by President Trump.
Oh, he was pardoned. You're right. You're right. Pardoned by President Trump for his offense. Pardoned for yelling "kill him" at police officers. And yet you expect hardworking police officers across the country to believe that you take law enforcement seriously. You can imagine the reaction. So many folks across the country hearing the chief law enforcement officer of the United States refuse to even condemn what that individual whom you've now hired.
Talk about zero background checks and hiring off of loyalty. This is how you create a cult and get people to kill other people and be okay with it and be okay with you being a PDF. MAGA is a cult. As a matter of fact, the Trump administration is so evil that he uncovered that Trump's name appears in the Epstein files 1 million times, by the way, over 1 million times, confirmed in the unredacted files. More names than God's name appears in the Bible. Talk about the Antichrist. Let's take a look at this clip.
It's not true. Trump's name appears more times in the Epstein files than God's name appears in the book about God. Okay, by the way, this is the Trump Bible. Move over, King James. Trump's name also appears more times in the Epstein file than Harry Potter's name appears in the 7 books about Harry Potter.
That is some damning evidence. When you read a book and a character's name appears more than everybody else, you know that main character is the story of that book. Well, if Trump's name appears over 1 million times in the Epstein files and he is the main character of that book next to Jeffrey Epstein, and the Epstein files are about Donald Trump, at least the redacted ones, over 1 million times. 3 million documents we haven't had, and 33% of them are filled with Trump, not to include the documents they deleted illegally. They are not allowed to delete documents from their files, but they have. And there are reports of victims reporting what Trump did to them, to include unaliving them and raping them, allegedly. Because do you remember when I said that Epstein survivors were sitting behind her? This is what I mean, because they asked them to stand up and raise their hand. You also see a male survivor, by the way, and you see Pam Bondi not facing them in shame. This woman's face and this woman's face. They have had it. Pam Bondi and the Trump administration's lies and extreme consequences are on the way. By the way, here's another Gen 6 rider who was recently sentenced to prison for, once again, PDF behavior after he got pardoned by Donald Trump. It seems to never stop. Americans are seeing a clear pattern with MAGA, Nazism, and PDF behavior because they all seem to act the same, represent the same stuff, and protect each other under these pretexts as well. Now, here's that clip of Epstein survivors behind Pam Bondi revealing her, showing that she's done nothing for them, and she gets called out right here in silence. Let's take a look at this clip.
To the survivors in the room, if you are willing, please stand. And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice. Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand. Attorney General Bondi, you apologize to the survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information?
Congresswoman, You sat before Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General Bondi.
No, can I finish my answer?
No. Claim my time because I asked you a specific question
Attorney
that
General,
I would
respond to
like
the question.
you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It's about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Members get to ask the questions, the witness get to answer in the way they want to answer them. Attorney General,
Mr. Chairman.
She doesn't like me. So,
Mr. Chairman,
she asked Merrick Garland this.
Claiming my time.
I'm not going to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
the time belongs to the gentle lady. The gentle lady has 17 seconds.
Thank you. You're not going to answer this question, so let me just...
Chairman, I'll direct it to
What?
Will you restore her time? The witness
this woman.
At the
She's
time,
doing theatrics.
we have my...
Gentle lady.
This was incredibly predictable. The first thought that came to my mind was Pam Bondi was going to attack her character once again and deflect to something else. And that's exactly what she did, and she did not let her take up her time. Pam Bondi doesn't realize that she's giving us all of her answers. No, she will not turn around and apologize because she simply doesn't care. She actually doesn't care so much that she demands everybody in this room apologize to Donald Trump for trying to impeach him. The same person that's in the Epstein files more than anybody else. She is finished. Her career is over with. There is nowhere to go after this. You don't have the support of the Americans. You don't have the support of the House, of the Senate. Come midterms, you will all be out of office. If it even gets that far, because day by day we get closer to the truth about the Epstein files. The gaslighting simply isn't working. Normal Americans do not buy it. And instead of apologizing to these Epstein survivors, she demands they apologize to her and Donald Trump for trying to impeach him for breaking the law. What's going to happen to them next is going to go down in American history. So I guess when Trump was talking about the enemy from within, he was talking about his own staff. However, that's hypothetical. Let's take a look at this clip.
I also found an email that I have right here from Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell that was unredacted. And it included notes of statements that Donald Trump made about his prior relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, there is no reason for this to be hidden from the American people. There is no privilege. There is no attorney-client privilege, and I see you're checking with your staff, and I can assure you, staff, this is not under attorney-client privilege because it was sent from Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell. Will you commit to publicly providing the unredacted version of this so that the American people can understand the extent of Donald Trump's lies about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein?
As good of a lawyer today as you were when you tried to impeach President Trump in 2016. Have you apologized for that in 2019?
So, will you unredact this? Will you unredact this?
Counsel on that. Privileged.
I'm asking you, will you unredact this?
Privileged.
Privileged, of course. I look forward to discussing this more.
No one even knows what she's talking about at this point. I don't even think she does. This is a very desperate person trying to show strength through loudness, anger, and wrongness. Pam Bondi, since no one around you is going to tell you the truth, we will tell you the truth. You are going to prison for your crimes against humanity. And the same way you're trying to run down their time, your time is ticking. That will run out too. Now, if you want to hear Pam Bondi absolutely have it handed to her, this is the clip right here, because Garcia goes crazy on her, telling her she is the worst attorney general he has ever seen in his life, and that she is enabling PDF rings and trafficking in America. He then said she is already on grounds for impeachment. Let's take a look at this clip, because Pam Bondi clearly cannot take these words, but she needs to hear it.
Attorney General Bondi, glad you finally made it here after hiding for 4 months from this committee. I understand
I thought you were hiding
from us.
Chairman?
You're one of the worst attorney generals in our history and an instrument of Donald Trump's lawless authoritarian agenda. And I'm glad the American people are seeing who you are, how you act, and the lack of good values. You weaponize the Department of Justice to target immigrants, working families, and anyone that Trump deems an enemy of the state, all to protect real powerful criminals, including in your administration. The
Democratic colleagues have focused on your cover-up of the Epstein files and your passion for protecting pedophiles and child traffickers. That alone is grounds for impeachment.
This is what is awaiting Trump in just a few months. The lies are flat, and America has had enough. And most Americans stand behind these exact words said today to Pam Bondi, and none of them buy the BS. Because if Trump and the Trump admin refuse to hold themselves accountable, then the rest of America will. And in the final clip we're going to review, she actually gets called out. Well, actually, Donald Trump's behavior gets called out for the death threats that he sends his political officials. Because after Trump sends his army to send them death threats, he does nothing about it ever. We watched it happen with Marjorie Taylor Greene, and by this representative right here, he says it happened to him and that they have done absolutely nothing about it. It's important that stories like these come to light so America can hear what's going on behind closed doors, and this is what they've been waiting for the lawmakers to speak on. Let's take a look at this clip.
I expected that the president would present these, but what I want to talk to you next is serious. I did not expect this would happen. I could help. The president is filing threats against me and me sitting up in June 2025. Joel left 11 voicemails at my district office. On the voicemails, they said, get the message to him and toss his ass over the Golden Gate Bridge by my fucking self. Donald Trump's Department of Justice in the Northern District of California declined to prosecute. On May 14, 2025, on Twitter, responding to something I posted, an individual said, no, it wasn't him. I'm going to kill you. The Department of Justice from the Southern District of Texas declined to prosecute. In December of 2025, we received messages at my office that said, I hope somebody shoots you and your children and your wife in the head. Pew, pew, motherfucker, pew, pew. I would stay indoors as much as possible, and my children, unfortunately, have to do that. The Department of Justice has not charged this individual and cited that he's a prolific caller and has health conditions, although what we have found from our investigation and his voicemails is that he has said he will employ others to do this. The president can come after me. That's fine. I'm in the arena. So are these folks. We never expected that the Department of Justice would speak, prosecute, and investigate those who are making threats against us.
That's the problem I have with all of this. This is the end of the Trump administration as we move towards the goal of receiving justice in America for the Epstein files, because they are crumbling under the pressure and they are panicking. They have hidden, covered up, and committed atrocious crimes in this country, and America has not forgotten. Donald Trump is losing everything as his officials go down one by one. Howard Lutnick, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel. Accountability is on the way because if Trump refuses to hold himself accountable, then the rest of America will. So with that being said, release the unredacted Epstein files, Donald Trump. Bring justice to Renee Good, to Alex Preddy, to Keith Porter Jr., and all of the Epstein survivors, and follow the law. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please make sure to have a wonderful day. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and see you next time. I may have sounded a little bit worse today. I got sick. However, I wanted to make sure I completed this video for you. Hope you enjoyed it. More to come. Hope you have a great day today. I'll see you next time.
File your own taxes 100% free in the Credit Karma app by February 28th if you didn't file with TurboTax last year, no matter your tax situation. File your taxes free with TurboTax in the Credit Karma app now.
Hi, this is Ben, your bedbug inspector with Rockfest here in Kansas City. Thanks so much for reaching out and trusting us to help with your bedbug situation. I know this can feel really stressful and overwhelming, and I'm here to make the process as easy and effective as possible. I've been inspecting for and treating bedbugs for almost 15 years now, so I've seen just about every scenario. I also work with my detection dog, Raven. She's amazing at finding bedbugs in places humans can miss. She's honestly the best detection dog I've ever seen, and I've worked with quite a few. By the way, Raven's a total sweetheart. If you'd like to pet her or give her a treat, she'd love that, especially from the kids. So the good news, you don't need to throw anything away, bag everything up, or turn your house upside down before we arrive. We'll handle the heavy lifting so you can focus on getting back to normal life with the least disruption. I'm really looking forward to coming out and getting this taken care of quickly and thoroughly and putting your mind at ease. If you have any questions before your appointment, just give us a call. We're here for you. Thanks again for choosing Rockfest.
It's finally getting out of Minnesota. Maybe. We'll see. Because where we'll actually get started is with this announcement.
All-Star weekend on Sunday. Sunday, our city's host to the NBA All-Star game. Any of you going to the game this Sunday? Yeah. I feel like half of you are lying, but okay. All the big stars will be in town on instead of the usual, there's usually a matchup between the East and the West. This year the teams will be made up of Americans against players from the rest of the world. And, I've been hoping somebody would figure out another way to pit us against the rest of the world. I'll be watching the alternative All-Star game on the NBA one's a little too ethnic for me, Between the All-Star game and Valentine's Day, there's going to be a lot of scoring this weekend. By scoring, right? Sex, right? What is your lovemaking plan for the weekend this week? How do you approach this with your wife?
Oh, well, dinner?
Yeah?
Margaritas?
Okay.
And gummies.
Oh. Never worry about the timing of all of it and whether it tips too far.
No, I double check. I see her. I say, okay, wait, it's time for half a gummy.
People well calibrated.
Exactly.
So Valentine's Day is on Saturday, and this is everything you need to know. Flowers are all sold out. There are no more dinner reservations. You'll probably get divorced, okay? But here's a little money-saving tip. You can save a bundle on candy hearts just by writing the words "I heart you" on a toast. So President Trump might be feeling a bit lonely this Valentine's Day because this fundraising email has been going out from the RNC that says, "Do you still love me? I miss you." And then it asks you to take a poll, and then, like a lot of dirtbag boyfriends, it asks you for money. And then, with money, you get another email that says, "Trump is sad." And then in that email, he says, "I'm heartbroken. It's Trump, and this isn't like you." Look at that picture. Does that look like a heartbroken? That is, at best, that is constipation. But if you want to, please give him money. He loves money. He loves love. He is a great lover of love. Outside of windmills and late-night television, Donald Trump loves so many things.
I love my signature. Everyone loves my signature.
I love solving wars. I love these rigid binds.
That's why I love that shirt so much. I sleep with that shirt. I love you. I love the farm. I love Pakistan. I love Oklahoma. I love the people of China. I love the people of Russia. I love Hispanic. I love them. I love black people. I love this guy. We love miners. I love miners. I love you.
You know, Donald and Melania are planning to have a romantic dinner on Saturday night, separately, of course. The vice president, interesting fact about J.D. Vance, he never gets his wife a gift or even flowers for Valentine's Day because he likes it when she makes him go sleep on the couch. Vance has been very weakly defending his boss and the fact that Trump's name is mentioned more than 1 million times. The Trump Epstein files, a vote to Club Penn, despite claiming ties with Epstein beforehand. And now we're seeing all manner of colorful stuff coming out of Trump land, including this.
But as many accusers still wait for their long overdue justice, the rest of the world is still waiting for answers. Why did it take so long, Epstein, to face these charges? Who are the people that enabled this horrific behavior over the years? And will they ever face justice?
That's from Oz True Crime in 2019. And what makes it interesting is that in 2016, 3 years before that, Dr. and Mrs. Oz invited Jeffrey Epstein to their house for a Valentine's Day party. 8 years after he registered as a sex offender. Only the best people, you know. Although in fairness, one thing I know about Dr. Oz is when he throws a party, he goes all out for his guests.
I'll be the vagina.
Consummate home. And then on the other end of the hospitality spectrum, we have Attorney General Pam Bondi, who put on a nearly 5-hour Karen-thon in front of the House Judiciary Committee yesterday. And for those who are wondering when the abuse of power will end, the answer is never, probably. So a photographer got a shot of her folder. She opened the folder. They got a shot. You see a page that says Jayapal Pramila search history. That refers to Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, a Democrat, with whom Bondi exchanged one of the most contentious exchanges of the day. The photo appears to show a list of everything Jayapal searched for in the Trump Epstein files, which again we've trademarked. They tracked her search history in the private room at the DOJ, where congresspeople are, legally permitted to look at the less redacted files. And it would seem that they tracked those congresspeople without their knowledge. They looked at their search history to give Bondi an edge in the hearings, and then they're so dumb, they printed it out and put a title on it. Pramila search history. Such a delicate balance between stupid and evil. Yeah. Spying on congresspeople in the legislative branch is deeply disturbing, and I'll tell you what, you can be damn sure the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson's going to have something to say about it.
So, I will have anybody involved with the DOJ, and I'm sure that's my guess.
That's a bad guess. An oversight. You mean somebody forgot to not track and document everything elected officials privately looking up? That's the hell of Let me throw that to the Department of Justice. Interesting detail is, there are 535 members of Congress. Do you know how many computers the Department of Justice set up to let them look through the 3 million pages of Trump Epstein files? Trademark? Four. There are 4 computers for all of the sheriff. I called the Burbank Library today. They have 22 computers. The Trump Epstein files has 4, okay? Pam Bondi has spent more time investigating the people who are reading the Epstein files than the people who are in the Trump Epstein files. 6 Republicans in the House jumped ship yesterday, voting with Democrats against Trump's inexplicable tariffs on Canada. Of course, the president threw a fit about it. Trump has really had it in for Canada ever since he found out about that TV show. I feel like we're heading into an interesting era for Donald Trump. Unless he's able to cheat his way through the next election, it looks very likely that Democrats will take back control of Congress in the midterm. Let's not make any presumptions, but he'd be a lame duck with greatly diminished influence. And I feel, what he's going to be like? You remember the Iron Sheik? He was a wrestler who retired 30 years ago. He was big in the 80s, but until he was in his 80s, he would still put on his costume. He would scream at people. He would threaten to sodomize them. And everybody just kind of pretended to be scared. Like, oh no, because he was old and kind of nuts, That's what Trump's going to be like. I mentioned last night, you did nothing to protect me when you threatened to do that to me.
I was up the day then.
Last night, I mentioned that Trump was honored with the Undisputed Champion of Coal Award. And today came the Greenhouse Gas Hole of the Year. Today was repealing and rejecting a finding from 2009 by the EPA that says carbon dioxide is bad for our planet. By doing this, it means that our government can no longer take action to fight climate change. Anyone can now pump anything out of their cars or whatever into the air for the benefit of those who sell fossil fuels. It is a great MAGA victory, and also a source of intense pride for the man who made it happen, Lee Zeldin, Trump's head of the EPA.
Today, the single largest act of deregulation in the history of the United States, over $1.3 trillion. The elimination of the endangerment finding is signed, sealed, and delivered.
Good. It was good. Maybe I should say great. It was great.
You work so hard to try to destroy the planet for a guy, and that's the thanks you get. And then we have our Secretary of Health, RFK, who groped his way to a podcast today to drop this little nugget of nuts.
And I said, I'm not scared of a germ. You know, it's not cocaine off a toilet seat.
As a small business owner, you need a tax service that lets you focus on your business.
That's how he killed the brainworm, you know? And with all this talent in Trump's cabinet, it's hard to believe we're heading for another government shutdown. This will be a partial shutdown. It involves funding for the Department of Homeland Security, which runs ICE. If a deal isn't reached by Saturday, the DHS will be closed for business. Democrats want ICE officers to revise some of their policies before agreeing to give them any more money, and Republicans are so far unwilling to go along with that. These are very basic requests. These are essentially the same guidelines police have to follow when they arrest people. So Democrats released a 10-point plan for reforming ICE and the Border Patrol. They asked them that they don't do this. They asked them, don't do this. They said, please don't do this. They said, we don't want you to do this or this. Don't do this. They don't do this. Don't do this. And they said, please don't do this. And we would prefer it if you don't. I don't know. It seems okay to me, right? One more thing, more important thing before we forge ahead. It is Thursday night, which means it's time to bleep and blur the biggest TV moments of the week, whether they need it or not. It is this week in unnecessary censorship.
Two of you guys have 6 total rings. I see you guys kind of pulled them out for us here.
You know who I saw today? And I met Tom Brady. And I think
It's not time that I got a chance to go number one, that was the strongest call I've ever had in my entire life.
I met Jeffrey Epstein when I moved to a house next door to him in New York. And then, over the next 14 years, I met him 2 other times.
Jr. once went dinosaur David Epstein. Trump said, sit on these for you.
I'll get you officially in a second, but I know I spoke on as well.
Well, Emily knows yet. I was named Bonds 2 weeks ago. And we had to get to the doctors pretty quickly and then get x-rays and all of that.
I ate ass. I into my mouth. You can come into my mouth any day. I'm on both sides of the aisle.